So this video is about plant transfers. So your plant should or if you did all my videos in order, your plants should be coming to a decent size, I like to call it a teenager size. It's not an adult plant, but it's not a baby anymore. It's in the middle. When your plant becomes a teenager and it's still in vegetation, you want to when your plant outgrows its pot, you want to move it to a bigger pot. Now, hear me out. You can just start your plant in a bigger pot. You can do that. I start plants in smaller pots because it gives me more space to start more plants. Just that simple. And then I move it to a bigger pot when it outgrows it. If you do this method, this video is for you. If you just take a 5-gallon pot and start it with that, you don't have to transfer. Your plant will grow up in the 5-gallon pot. I like to start in 1-gallon pots and then I do a transfer. Some people like to start them in Dixie cups or what have you. If you are one of them people, this video is for you. Like again, if you can totally avoid this whole step by just simply starting the plant in a 5-gallon or in a bigger pot. I recommend 5-gallon pots. If you start your plant in a 5-gallon pot, you don't have to transfer it. So this is for the people not doing that. If you started in an itty bitty pot, you're going to eventually have to move it. You cannot complete the process in an itty bitty pot. So this video is for the people doing that. Is there an advantage to that? Space wise, there is. Probably otherwise, not really. Your plant should still grow up fine if you start it in a big pot. It's not like it's not going to grow up. It will. Starting them in smaller pots or in Dixie cups or what have you gives them a lot more space. So if you are trying to grow 6 plants, 10 plants, starting them in smaller pots is going to allow you to do that. Whereas starting them in 5-gallon pots, you clearly are not going to fit as many in there. So just that, just that perspective. So this video is on transferring your plant. So I'm going to start the video over. And so this is already assuming you filled your pot. So your 5-gallon pot, fill it with soil. Obviously, you don't need to fill it to the very, very top. You can just fill it, almost to the top, a little over 3/4 of the way. You want to leave a little bit of room at the top so it doesn't overflow with when you add water, things like that. There's the soil you should have. You can clearly see in the picture. It's the same soil I told you to buy in the very first video. That's the soil. You should have had this soil by now. So you take your 5-gallon pot. This is for a transfer from a small pot to a 5-gallon. So take your 5-gallon pot. You get a cup. I just take a plastic cup. See how I pointed at it? And you're going to drill a hole in the middle with that plastic cup, just like I'm doing right there. You drill the hole. You just move it back and forth like this. And if you have to rewatch the video, you probably have to watch this video twice. You drill a hole in the middle just like that. Use it and move it in a circle, just like I'm doing. It'll make that hole bigger. See what I'm doing there? See it just like that. See what I'm doing in the video? Just moving that cup around in a circle. I'm drilling a hole with the bottom of the cup. Don't use the top of the cup. You want to use the bottom of the cup. And you just make a hole. Press down firm and rotate in a circle with a plastic cup. It will make a hole for you to put your smaller plant in. So see, I press down. I like to do it so it makes a deep hole. The plant coming out of you want to make sure it's deep enough. And so I use 1-gallon pots and they're pretty deep. So I make sure the hole is deep enough. If you're using a Dixie cup, your hole's not going to need to be as deep. So you want to make sure it's deep enough. The trick to you getting them, if you bought the same pots I told you, you should have cloth pots. Then you take your little plant tag out of there, Move your little plant tag. You should have cloth pots. So if you have cloth pots, you can put your fingers on the bottom. See what I do here? Just watch what I do here. I put my fingers on the bottom here. And you can press that plant up out the bottom with your fingers. See what I do here? Watch what I do here. And you want to make sure when you're moving the plant, don't water then move it. Make sure the plant's dry. Don't water it for a day before you move it. Make sure it's dry. See how that soil's dry? It's not wet, it's dry. So I'll press that plant up out of there. Just use your fingers, spread them out, press that plant up out of there. See how the whole thing's coming up out? That's the advantage of a cloth pot over a plastic. You can't do this with a plastic pot. If it's a plastic pot, you're gonna have to dig around with a butter knife or something, turn it up, and then so you just want to kind of tilt it a little, get you a trash can nearby to say, tilt it up over the trash can a little, or you can hold it over your pot. I like to, keep the trash can close so you don't make a big mess. And there she is. Boom. See how she came out? See how easy that is? Sometimes I'll do it over the trash can, or you can do it over the pot. In this instance, I did it over the pot. Boom. That's it. That's a plant transfer. She's in there. Now, when she's in there, you press. And you press. See how I pressed her down in there? See how I pressed her down? She's going to be leaning. She'll stand up on her own. Don't worry about her leaning to one side. She'll stand up on her own. Press her in there. Press the roots down. Form your hands like a triangle around that plant and press down. You press that plant down in there. And then you take a little bit more soil. Take your cup and actually use it as a cup. Just like that. That's what I do there. Just take that cup and you just scoop some soil in there. Then you put it around the edges. See how it's new soil? See how it's darker? You can tell it's new soil over there. And then you just form it around. Just press and then press on her again with the new soil. So it's new soil on top. Make sure that all the roots are covered. That big root ball that comes out of there, make sure it's covered. You don't want to see the roots. So make sure it's covered. You just want to see the plant. That's all you want to see. You just want to see that plant sticking up out of there. See how she's kind of leaning a little? That's just stress from being moved. She'll stand all back up on her own. And I have this plant right now. She's doing great. Add some water. Because when you move them, you're moving them from one home to another. So you want to re-add some water so they're not sitting in a dry home. Just a little sprinkle like I did there. That's it. Spray them if you want to. Not necessary, but I like to spray my plants when they're vegetating. Boom. Plant transfer. You should rewatch this video. It's not a long video. The actual transfer process is only about 3 to 4 minutes. I did a lot of talking outside of that. The actual transfer process is easy. I can't make it any clearer for you in this video. Fill the pot. I even wrote the instructions down for you down in the corner. Fill the pot with soil. Compact the soil with that cup. Make sure before you dig that hole that the soil is pressed. All the soil should be pressed down firmly. It shouldn't be loose. But, most people know that. You guys, that's common sense. Press the soil down firmly. Use the bottom of the cup. Drill a hole with the bottom of the cup. Just turn your hand in a circle and press down. See what I'm doing? It's really clear what I'm doing in the video. And then after you make the hole how deep you want it, you start moving it in a circle so you can expand it. And that will make the hole bigger. And then you can put your plant in there. If you didn't catch it, or if you're scared. Now remember, I recommend to you to buy cloth pots from Amazon. I have supplied the links for you in the first video. If you didn't buy them and you're using plastic pots, you cannot finger press the plant out of there. You're going to have to take like a butter knife and go around the edges, and you're going to have to turn the pot sideways and she'll slide out. I have plastic pots. It's to say, they'll slide out of there. But the cloth pot, you can push her up out of there, and it's way, way easier. Also, cloth pots allow the plant to breathe more. There's nothing wrong if you have just plastic pots sitting around and you went with plastic pots. Your plant will still grow. But a cloth pot is supposed to be superior to a plastic pot. Some growers might agree with that. Some might not. I have success with both. I have some plastic pots I still use. They work fine. But I recommend you buy the cloth pots that I showed you in the first video. And then we can even sit here and go through. So see how because it's cloth, the bottom of the pot moves. And you just push up on it. And you can clearly see how I just press. You want to press with both hands, and she'll come right up out of there. And just, do it over the... I got her out clean, but sometimes if you do this over the big pot, the soil will fall out and fill that hole up, and you don't want to fill the hole up. So sometimes I'll do it over the trash can, and I'll catch her, and then I'll just move her to the big pot. Because if you empty her over the pot, sometimes that soil falls in that hole, and then you gotta dig the hole out again. So I like to. This one came out real clean though. This transfer came out real clean. She didn't drop a bunch of soil. Sometimes they don't come out this clean, and you'll get a bunch of soil coming out with her. Not this one. This one was super clean. Not a bunch of soil came flying out, and she fit right in that hole really fast. Sometimes it's not as compact and clean as that. And so I usually like to do it over the trash can and then just move her to the hole. That way that extra soil falls in the trash can. Just a tip. You don't have to do that. You can still do it if you don't feel like you want to move her. Just do it right over the hole and flip her over. Either way, it really takes practice. It's really easy. After you do about 3 or 4 transfers, you'll have it down. It's really easier with cloth pots because you can press them up out of there. With plastic pots, you got a butter knife around the edges and then tip the pot over. It's a different animal. Maybe I'll demonstrate that one day. That's all I got for y'all here. We basically went through the video twice. Make sure after you put her in there to press her down, add some more soil, add some water. That's it. I'll sit here so see how hard I'm pressing there. You press it real hard until you want her to still be standing straight up, but she's going to look like she's had a bad day. You can tell at the top how she's kind of leaning. That's perfectly normal. That's the stress from you moving her. After you give her this water and stick her back under them lights for 24 hours, you come back and check her, she'll be standing straight up. And that's it. That's how you transfer a plant. Voila, shabam. I'm done. Any questions? You can just ask them in the comments below. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. We out of here.